All right, it's a show that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Welcome back. Fastest show in fantasy, absolutely anywhere. With your boy, Big Johnny Stud. Follow me up on Twitter at John Legaza. Flow, sharper than a damn razor. We're back with the Fantasy Football Legend Series. Thank you for the feedback. We had Pete Overzet in the chair. If you haven't seen it, check it out on the YouTube channel. Like and subscribe, all that stupid stuff. But today, we're getting the band back together. It's the reconnection of the Roto Sopranos. He knows that all with my boy, Mr. Matt Modica, true GOAT in the fantasy space. Well, Matt, just start off. How are you, pal?
Oh, I'm doing well. It's summertime, so it's Africa hot here in Tennessee, but surviving. We got air conditioning.
Yeah, you're one of my OGs, man. And there's a lesson that you taught me so early in my game. Again, Matty's one of the guys that really supported me and helped lift me up in the beginning. Running circles with Nando and Florio and stuff.
Oh, Nando's a great guy.
Those are my guys. Bro, Nando's still my guy. He's what a great dude. And of course, it's not the good guys that get pushed to the floor.
I don't want to leave Florio out.
But anyway, one of the lessons I learned from you when I first was started was I was, again, I'm brash or whatever. I was very assertive that I didn't think you could really be great at both fantasy and baseball and football. And you guys like Drew are living proof that you can be. I think I was a little too much nose in the spreadsheet. You're really more about the game, and you were so much better at the game than I was. Didn't matter what stats I had memorized. So, hat tip to you, Matt. You want to just tell people, I hate to do the whole.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I do love the stats too. I do love seeing the stats, but I think you have to be able to, decipher that. Like, there's some people on Twitter who are like my favorite, data dumpers. When it comes to numbers. But I don't really care about their rankings. I'm gonna take those numbers or from my own research, and I'm gonna decide because ultimately it's me putting up the money for that. And the one thing though is I did finally end my baseball run. In the last couple of years, it's just every time June was coming around, I would just start drafting like the first week of June with football. And with baseball, it's such a grind that you have to have, you have to give it its deserved attention. And football just became too much of a love for me. And I'm actually, it's probably something I should have did a little sooner, but we're here. And, no regrets, as they say. Baseball was very good to me, and I'm very happy about that. But, we've gone full football, enjoying it. And like I said, I did the first draft this year, redraft, first week of June, first live stream I was on with Nelson. I usually pop on with him, once a week or once every 2 weeks, do some live streams with him. Me and Paul Spiteri have the Sunday Night Extravaganza live stream we do every Sunday. Plus we do, one or two during the week. And, it's been fun. It's been, the summer's been filled. I haven't, been bored.
Yeah, literal redraft goats. I've always really admired that from afar. You mentioned a few things that are really so important. One, the overlap. Two, prioritizing your time properly. Me, I found, because I'm doing it for work, this time of year, Matt, I do the baseball work. I start at 5:30, knock out the data. I knock out the show. I used to, go F around, then I'd come back to it, maybe look at picks and tool around. I have to literally schedule it. The picks are already in with my betting stuff. Everything is away, and I make the shift over to football. If you're not very kind of stringent in your scheduling, you're going to fall behind in everything. And then again, if you find I can't do this one thing, then don't do that thing. I still think you shortchange yourself. There was a while. You are still considered one of the best fantasy players, basically in the world, bro.
But there's guys that are doing it that, do baseball and football, and they're crushing. So, more power to them. I found myself not paying attention to baseball the way it deserves that full attention, like you said. So if that's going to happen, you're putting money up, I'll just put it all towards football.
Now, what I really loved about you was how open you were, the candor. When I just in a quick DMs, one, I appreciate your time, but two, my default setting for high stake fantasy players, just because of freaking Zach. I'm like, we can't mention any names, they don't want to talk about stuff. You're really open about it. So let's go right in. We're going to just do, you said that you wanted to talk about players. So I said, let's do a whole
look, I get some people don't want to give out their stuff. I just do so many of these drafts, and boards are going to get out there anyway. I don't understand these live streams where we don't have people's names on it. I thought the whole thing about doing a live stream is people want their name to be seen. They want to be talked about their team.
I don't know, man.
I think it's a baseball thing that's now infected football.
They're more uppity.
Yeah, it's like, I don't. And also,
I don't really get it.
I'll say this. From my drafts in June to then my drafts in July and now in, the second week of August, a lot of shit has changed. Just the market and the boards have gotten so much tighter as well. So, I'm not hiding behind anything.
I used to ask you about that with baseball. It's the same theories, though. Giving out people, aren't you afraid people are going to jump on your guys? You say no. If they're taking them at a price I don't want them, then there's another pathway to winning. That was something you always kind of ingrained with me when I was first getting started.
Yeah, also, too, if there's a guy you really want, then you just move that guy up.
That's another one. Go get it. Go get it. When you're in the chair, get your team.
And, you can't be like 4 picks away, like, I got to get this one guy.
Right.
Then you're just going to be tilted the whole draft if you don't get him. You got to have, if somebody takes a guy I like, there's another guy I like. It's not like I only like one guy or, 2 guys. So
you also used to warn me about allowing picks to fall in sharp rooms. And dude, that one piece of advice made me such a better fantasy player. I used to say, well, ADP says this guy should fall to me. We were just talking off air about how fast prices are moving. Need to use the most recent data. And I wasn't doing that. And I'd say, well, yeah, I'm going to wait. If you need it, if that piece makes the puzzle, you build the puzzle. Just do.
Can I say something, though?
Yeah.
For like if you're doing online championships in the NFFC, the 12-teamers, the 350s,
yes,
you really only need like 8 to 10 drafts. I don't really like anything more. If you go from Saturday to today, that's 12 drafts in the online championship. You don't want to do all drafts because you don't care about gladiators, best balls. That's going to screw the whole ADP up. But just for the redraft, the 12 teams, which are going, full throttle every day, there's, I don't know, at least a handful or more. So you want, that most recent ADP, and you'll see the changes just from a week ago and so on.
Yeah, well, that ended up being a good strategy talk because, look, today, Makai Lemon now went from day to day with some hamstring stuff. Now he could miss the beginning of the season. The way you attack the Eagles pass catchers, maybe in pass catchers in general, the mid-round stuff's going to change. All right, let's get into these snap decisions. The first snap decision people are making is Bijan versus Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, as we've progressed, Jahmyr Gibbs has kind of launched himself into what's almost become like the universal clear-cut 101. I agree he's the 101. I don't know if it's so clear-cut. I'm going to bring up some stats. Why don't you give us your take on, that big 101 decision if you have the 101?
Okay, I mean, for me, it's going to be Jahmyr Gibbs, and I'll tell you why. I mean, I love Bijan, and I want to have, a good share of Bijan as well. The Lions are just a much better football team. That's number one. If their offensive line is improved from last year, it should just accelerate everything there. But the key is they're playing a last-place schedule. They got a really easy schedule. They're one of the better offenses in football. They've been that way. Gibbs, when Montgomery has not played, has been a beast. We've seen that. So I'm not taking anything away from Bijan. I will give Bijan the fantasy playoffs. Bijan has a wonderful fantasy playoffs. And Bijan is a wonderful player. Like I said, these guys I think deserve to go 1-2. I've had the 2 a couple of times, and I've gotten Gibbs because the person's taking Bijan. Most of the time, it does go Gibbs. I mean, would I be shocked if you told me that Jamir Chase or Apuka finished at the 1-1? No, I wouldn't. But I'm going to take those running backs, one of those 2 guys every time, because I think it just allows you to go pound yellow, especially in NFFC where you got to start 3 wide receivers.
Yeah. And
if you want to come back to the running back position at the end of the 5th round, early 6th, if you're on that, 5-6 turn, pick at 11-12, you're usually getting a really good number 2, or at least somebody I consider a good number 2 or a high upside back on a good team. So I think that gives you an advantage there. So you could start off Gibbs, Bijan, go 4 receivers and get your RB2, and you got a really good team. Or, maybe a Warren falls to you. He was falling back there, But a lot of times now he's starting to steam up.
Yeah, having that first pick makes everything so much easier for you. You're so locked in on that RB1, you don't even think about it. And then you just need to find a guy to plug in. Again, maybe you score on one of the mid-round backs, maybe a handcuff kind of steps into a role. Now your team is complete. I have found, you know what? I didn't have this on the list, but I do want your take on it. Where do you think you need, and I don't want to pigeonhole you, Matt, because you're all about the open-mindedness, but you have done enough of these things, and you've seen enough of the finished products. Where do you think you need to have at least one running back by? I've been pretty much standing firm. I think you need a running back in the first 3 rounds. I don't like to start with a Tootin as my one or a Montgomery as my one. Maybe I'm misplaced. Those, I think, are like the last resorts for an RB1. How would you frame that? Do you think you need one by a certain pick? And who's your last player you'd consider, all right, I'm confident as a week 1 running back?
I've been picking a lot the top 5. Recently, I've been moving back, but early on, I had a lot of top 5 picks. I mean, I think I have 8 Gibbs and like 3 Bijan or 4
Nice.
Bijan. And I got some Chase and I got like another 4 or 5 Pukas. But if I'm starting 3-4, if I start with Puka or Chase, I'm probably not taking a running back till round 5 because I'm just going to hammer that. I'm going to lean into that advantage. I'm getting, one of the top 2 receivers in the league. We're all betting on right now based on ADP. And, unless earlier on, I don't think it's going to happen anymore. Like Kenneth Walker would maybe fall. Yeah, and I would smash that. I mean, I think I've been saying he should be going at the 1-2 turn for the last couple of months.
Oh, I'm with you on that.
And so unless like something like that happened, I'll take the
So you don't like
Walker.
The 3rd round guys?
No, I got to give Nelson Sousa credit. I got to give Nelson Sousa credit. He says basically the 3rd round should be all yellow, and I pretty much agree with him there. I'm not going to think about pretty much a running back until the 4th round, and most likely in the NFFC, I still think you're going to get good running backs at the 5-6 turn if you're picking in that top 4.
So who are those names? That's like
David Montgomery, the Tootens, the Swift. If you're a Judkins guy, if you're a Trevian guy, I mean, Jonathan Brooks, him and Corum, I have over 20 shares each. And Brooks goes now right around that 5-6 turn or early 6.
He jumped Hubbard, yeah.
And I will, I'm going to take Brooks. See, the way you can do it is you can draft backwards. You can start out, get 4 studs with a Chase or Puka team. And, you got to start at least 3. One of them is probably a flex anyway. And again, we're not going to be right on every receiver. Right. I'm just letting everybody know. I don't care how good you are or, what numbers you got or simulations you're running. So say you start with those 4 guys. Whoever, like David Montgomery, or if Cam Scatterboo falls, which he goes in the 4th a lot, but he does fall in the 5th. Say you got, David Montgomery, for instance. I like him. I don't think he's sexy. He's secure.
Yep.
They brought him in there. I love it for that offense. The head coach is a defensive guy.
Yep. All the goal one work for sure. Yeah.
Let's say Monty's your 1. Now, say it comes around, you're picking 4. So at 6-4, you take Jonathan Brooks. Now, Jonathan Brooks, I love the upside. It's a little risky.
Yeah.
The guy.
Worry about the volume ceiling a little bit.
But he hasn't played. I think the pass catching. I saw Chuba. I saw Chuba get usurped last year by Rico Dowdle. This is a kid they've been waiting to unleash. The pass catching alone for me in a PPR makes him dynamic. So just say you start Monty and JB. Those are your first 2 running backs. You got 4 stud wide receivers. Now the 7th round comes around. If a Blake Corum falls, I'm taking Blake Corum. I'm a big Corum guy. I think he's going to at least share that role. I don't think he's a backup. I think it's going to be, pretty much a 50-50 split. Kyron will get more passes, but at the end of the year, we did see Corum starting to catch passes. So now you got Monty, who looks secure. You got 2 fragile guys, kind of, but upside plays, big swings. Now, 8th round, I'm going to nail Dobbins. A Dobbins, 8-9, a Dobbins, a Mason. Maybe I grab a tight end at 8 or 9, and I take one of Dobbins Mason there. And sometimes at 10, you can get a Mason.
Yep.
And I think Mason's a guy like you just take your medicine. After last year, I was really disappointed, but they're installing the Niners run scheme. He's looking really good. All the reports. I am not buying Aaron Jones. I think that answers the question later on.
Yeah, I think it's over for him.
Yeah, I mean he's been a great career. He won me and Andy Saxton a lot of money years ago, so I'll always love Aaron Jones. But so now my point is, you can build it backwards, or say you wanted a Kenny Gainwell or Rashad White, or even whoever it could be. You can get Bucky in the 6th round. So maybe you wanted Bucky instead of JB. I'm just trying to, whoever. Tootin seems to be falling now. Trevion's there. It's what I'm trying to say is you can build it backwards. You can get the, veteran running back, take 2 shots, get a tight end, get it because the tight ends go so late. The tight ends are going, 8th round, 9th round. Guys like Tucker Kraft, Harold Fanning, LaPorta. These are really good tight ends. Yeah. So you can have 4 wide receivers. You can get 4 running backs. And, 4 wide receivers, 3 running backs, and a really good tight end. Or you could take one of these elite quarterbacks. Like Drake May falls to the 7th round. He shouldn't be going in the 7th round. Joe Burrow in a 6-point passing should not be going in the 7th round. You can get Joe Burrow there sometimes, unless the Chase owner – bumps him up, but a lot of times he falls. Lamar Jackson, you can get him anywhere from the late 6th to the early 8th. Like I got him in slow there at the 7-8 turn. I was like, okay, I wasn't planning on taking, but I'm like, Lamar's here, I'm taking Lamar. So everything's priced so well for you, and it's if you know the board. I watched Edelman. Mike Edelman was one of the best players. He's the reigning Silver Bullet champ. And he's just one of the best drafters there is. He was never nervous last night. We were doing the live stream. He was on with me and Paul. He started off with James Cook. He took his 2nd running back. I think it was in the 8th round or the end of the 7th. It was it was the 8th because he took Drake May in the early 7th. And in the 8th round, he took Tony Pollard. I mean, I'm not a big Pollard guy, but
but he should start as the one.
Yeah, he's going to get the work. He came back with with Sam LaPorta in the 8th, and then in the 9th round he got it was either the 9th or the 10th. He got Mason, so he built up a 6 wide receiver. He had 5. He had James Cook plus 5 wide receivers. Drake May, he got Sam LaPorta. Okay, you're not thrilled about Tony Pollard or Mason, but you got Cook. 5 studs, or at least 5 guys you're going to war with. Like, you got depth now. You got elite depth. Like
a lot of the best players talk about this. I noticed
and he was
you're
never
very much
nervous.
unafraid. Hold on one second, because I want people to see how because you're automatically doing what great players do, building the entire puzzle, and something that now I've got the experience, but still relatively maybe not. You enter seasons, and a lot of great players enter seasons unafraid to add off the waiver. You like a guy like Dobbins, I'm terrified of. Why? Because of injury. I don't know when it's going to happen. It could be week 13, and he could be an RB1 at that point, a back-end RB1. He's excellent on a per-snap basis if he stays on his feet. So, yeah, I think there's something to that. Taking advantage of the guys that we think will produce up front. Right? You mentioned Montgomery. You mentioned Mason. These are guys that are not the sexiest picks, but they project to be the one right off the bat. And then you could kind of try and figure it out, not say on the fly, but you're going into the season, RB2, I'm going to find it, right? And a lot of the great players are like that. Mm-hmm. I think maybe I sacrifice in the draft room trying to leave with that perfect roster like that you mentioned before. Like I want to leave with the best looking roster, but that's not really how you do it. Wide receivers are very volatile. Yeah, having that extra one in the flex is a big hit.
My point for 2 things was just Edelman was never nervous. Like he never was like, oh my God, I got to get a running back. Right. That's number one. And what I was saying before about what that allows you, like if you have that running back at the end of 5 that you really like, that's your first running back. And then you take a couple of upside swings in a Jonathan Brooks or Blake Corum.
Yeah.
And then you add those guys, the Masons, the Dobbins. They're there because those guys might have to ramp up. You know what I'm saying? They might take a couple of weeks to ramp up. You're playing to get into the shootout. get into the dance. You want week 15 through 17. That's where the big money is. So your goal is, these guys can get me along, early on. And if one or two of these guys blow up, then I'm really cooking. You know what I'm saying? So,
all right, I want to back you up. I want to back you up on the running backs. All the way to that second round, this has been a huge point of contention. I did an article for Matthew Berry. Check it out on Fantasy Life if you want. I charted out like usage. It's just my style. I wanted to help more novice players just get an idea of what's going on. So we're talking about you let the cat out of the bag. Loving it. I was taking Ken Walker at the turn this entire summer. Now the public has caught up to us, Matty. So I'm with you. I have Walker first. Let's say aside from him. Chase Brown, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Devin Achane. I think I got them all. Talk to us, even if it's a sentence or two on each of those guys. Are there any you're not taking? I'm really not high on Barkley. I'm not taking Derrick Henry. I like Brown right after I like Walker. I worry about the offensive touchdowns in Miami, but I think Achane is enough of the offense to get there. How do you see the second round running back landscape? Take it wherever you like.
I mean, Achane, I think is fantastic. I'm pretty much
fading. He's a great player.
I'm fading him. I just don't like the offense. Don't like the quarterback. I get the argument he can catch 80 passes. I don't know. The only guy I'm really taking from Miami is Greg Dulcich.
He could have a big year as a back end tight end.
So, I mean, that's the one guy. I'm completely kind of out on the Miami. Maybe you could take a couple of swings at their receivers and when there's nobody left on the board late in the late rounds, but I'm just kind of staying away. So Achane, I'm not really drafting.
Okay.
Every year I get burned on Henry. I only have like one or two shares of him. Like I said, I'm usually taking receivers. Henry in the NFFC is going to go end of the second, early third, and that's where I'm drafting wide receivers. So I'm not taking him. I mean, if Hampton's there in the second round, I'm going to take that Hampton, shot. Yeah. Amari and Hampton, it's the coordinator. I mean, look what he did in Miami with these two guys that,
with far less,
Achane.
Right? With far
this is before Achane, you know.
The line is healthy. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, that
You're not worried
line
about the
is
threat
healthy.
of competition? People love Keaton Mitchell. I'm not a big Mitchell guy. People love Mitchell and Vidal.
I think, why can't both succeed?
Well, Vidal was really good, too, when he was in there last year.
Yeah, I mean, Vidal, to me, is the handcuff for I can't speak, Amari and Hampton. If Hampton was to get a long-term injury or a season-ending injury, God forbid, but if that happened, Vidal is going to be the starting running back. I think with Keaton, and he's another guy I'm pretty much around 20 shares of, he's a guy that's going to have his own role. He's a weapon. He's a weapon that, the two guys he wanted was Keaton Mitchell and Alex Ingold, the fullback. And so I just love the offense. The offensive line, if they could stay healthy this year, it's elite. The quarterback's elite. It's the play caller's elite. It just, everything is coming up Chargers. But the Chargers are like the AFC version of the San Francisco 49ers. They can never stay healthy. So, you got to worry about that. But, I mean.
So, if you have to turn, you like Walker and Hampton? Or do you push any of those wide receivers up to the 13 spot?
But, I mean, it depends. If you're picking in the back, like in the NFFC, every draft, it's different. It could be, there could be Justin Jefferson and T.D. Lamb available to turn. Or you can have James Cook and Chase Brown, or James Cook and Kenneth Walker.
Dude, I don't think I've let James Cook slip past me at the turn once. I'm even kind of taking him over Walker. I really like James Cook.
Yeah, I've taken, in a prime time, I've taken James Cook at 9. I went Cook Walker.
Wow,
I have Walker in multiple prime times. But again, I'm a guy that really likes to start out with the wide receivers. But out of the 3 slow primes I did, 2 of them, one is Cook Walker, and the other one is, I believe, Genty Walker. So,
all right, so that's the second round, guys. A couple more snap decisions. Lots of argument going on. This is really your kind of prototypical argument for running backs. New England Patriots, really good offense. the answer could be both, right? We've seen Detroit be a great offense and carry two backs, providing they're the only two, which I think is the problem with Tootin. You mentioned the Tootin slide, is I think people slowly realizing that LaKent Allen is probably going to get some of the passing work regardless. And if Chris Rodriguez is eating up goal line touches, that could hurt Tootin. I think the pie could be big enough for anybody. But to the Patriots, it's Ramondre Stevenson and Trevion Henderson. Man, I've been not drafting Trevion. He goes earlier. I have concerns. But, man, if there's a player on the board, Maddie, that I'm worried is going to burn that ass if I don't have him, it could be Henderson. He's that good. Do you have a favorite in the Patriots, or do you like Steady Eddie, Ramondre Stevenson?
I do have a favorite in the Patriots, but can we back it up to Jacksonville real quick?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Jacksonville's like the talk of
I just look at what Liam Cohen's did the last couple of years. Bucky in Tampa Bay. Look what he did for ETN. And ETN was a workhorse. I think they have concerns with Tootin because he hasn't done it yet. They're not sure what they have. I think he's going to get an opportunity to have a sizable role. Does that mean that I won't draft Chris Rodriguez later on? No, Chris Rodriguez goes in end of the 11th, early 12th. I think that's, even if he didn't play, that's a great contingent piece because it's an offense I really like. So I'm still in on Tootin there. I'm going to draft him, and if it's in the 6th round, I think the last time he went mid-6th, I'm going to take that. Yes. I mean, I took just for the people listening, we took Jonathan Brooks ahead of him. We went Swift at the 5. We started with Gibbs. We had the 1. My partner Paul wanted a Swift Gibbs team, and I wanted to add some Swift. I mean, I have tons of Tootin, and I have tons of Jonathan Brooks, but we starting out Gibbs and Swift. That seems to be a solid foundation, right? So that's why we took Jonathan Brooks, because I think, he can go nuclear. If
it's a compliment for it. How about the Patriots, though? Because I'm stuck. I got to be selfish. I'm
still a Trevion guy. I saw what Trevion did. People are like, well, he only did it when Stevenson got hurt. And I'm like, okay, yeah, he didn't get the opportunity. When he got the opportunity, he crushed. He had 4 rushes over 40, 2 touchdowns over 50. Nobody does that. Only 4 backs had 4 rushes over 40. There were, I don't think there were anybody that had 2 touchdowns over 50. But to me, it's just the upside there. I know the coach, the team, they love Stevenson. But Stevenson got back into favor on Sunday Night Football, people forget. Trevion got hurt. He got a concussion against the Ravens. And then it went back to Trevion. And they never said, they just rode him. And even in the last game of the season against Miami, where Stevenson put up 30 or 40 points, Trevion in a limited role put up 18 points. You understand?
Right, that's always on the table for him. That's what I mean.
I just think he's going to start catching passes this year. This is my bet. He's going to catch the ball. I know they're saying he still needs work to do in the passing game. I think he's just such a weapon in the passing. If you look at his college film, last year, they took him off the field for that. Now, look, he was a rookie. You playing at Ohio State, national championship. There's no downtime. You're just full throttle ahead. The combine, the draft, your OTAs, boom. I think he proved in college he could do some pass blocking. So hopefully the second year that shows up. I'm just betting on the upside, like you say. If somebody's going to burn you,
set for continuity and repetitions, man. That's not outlandish.
So, and especially if you have a secure RB1, or you can still build it. Like I told you, you can get guys that aren't sexy, but they can, and also too, like in the NFFC, you're getting a free look at that game because it's a Wednesday night game. People still drafting till Saturday. So if Trevion puts up 6 points, you don't start him. You put him back on your bench, and then Sunday you could start whoever you took. If you took a Dobbins, a Mason, put him in. If he goes up, puts up 22 points, he's in your lineup. So that's another advantage.
All right, cool. I think that's the running back stuff. Man, I think we got to everything I was hoping to get to. Whether we got there in order or not, who cares? Right? Your favorite back.
The one question you didn't ask me.
Mason versus Jones. I like all that stuff. Your sneaky RB2. I think you put it out there, right? It sounds like it's Jonathan Brooks. Now, you mentioned one player I'm getting scared off, was Rachaad White. I don't know, maybe the contract kind of scares me. People are getting high on Bill Krosky Merritt again, who is good, last year, I think maybe the helium got him in trouble, right? The draft helium put expectations, maybe made them unrealistic a little bit. So how do you think Washington shakes out before we move on to pass catchers?
I would have a lot more. I would have a lot more Rachaad White if it wasn't for Jonathan Brooks and Blake Corum.
Yeah.
I think the injury
he has.
I think he's going to have a substantial role, even if Bill is. I never looked at it as Rachaad White was going to be a 3-down back.
Okay,
he's going to be the pass catching back for this team. They want to have sets where you don't know what they're going to do. He can still run the ball. He's not really a good runner. Everybody knows that. But what he is good at, they just lost one of their offensive linemen for probably most of the year, if not the whole year. So what does James White. I almost said James White. What does Rachaad White do? He's an elite pass blocker, and he's an elite pass catcher. And that's what they're going to need. So he's going to be out there. He's going to play. I do like him. I like him. I like the Kenny Gainwells. Those two guys, I think have a really nice upside where they go. I think they're actually falling. I mean, last night, I think Rachaad White fell into the 10th round. We had a Herbert as our quarterback. We went with Keaton Mitchell, because I just think Keaton Mitchell could be a cheat code possibly. He could be a 0, but in the 10th round, I'm going to swing for the fences.
Yeah, and so, redraft is worth those shots because he could move the needle, or he goes late enough that you just move on from it. You're always the first person to remind us that most of these late picks end up in the trash bin anyway. Whether they're hurt or don't produce. So why play for a guy who, if they hit, is not good, right? Play for guys that are going to move the needle. Yeah. I have some of the stats up for them last year, the running backs in Washington. The thing that got me on White initially was you could see better EPA per rush, better success rate, very similar explosive rush rate. I like to avoid negative rushes. White was actually very good with that. He had one of the lower rates in the league for a guy with his workload. Just 11% of his attempts went for either 0 or less. Now, the Tunsil thing kind of bothers me, but if the Tunsil thing worries you, I think you're just getting away maybe from the runners altogether, though I would think, last point, maybe that helps White, right? If you think they're going to be more up against it.
I think that's throw all those stats away you just put up. What's the one thing the Washington Commanders need to do more than anything is keep Jaden Daniels healthy and upright. And Bill cannot block like Rachaad White.
Dude, he's a pro. White is a legitimate pass catching back in the NFL world.
He is a great pass blocker, and he's a top notch pass catcher. So I think he's going to see a lot of playing time with them. And I think the injury. Let's do
wide receivers, man.
Yeah.
The big question is always Malik Neighbors now. There's clips of me sounding like an idiot because I saw him running at that softball game. You look at
but everybody was the beat writer. Fair enough. Was I was at the same. I was still.
Where does he go? What percentage up to 100? Where do you think we get him? How do you think we should treat Malik Neighbors?
Up until whatever, like 10 days ago, I was taking him. I had a few shares in the 4th round, like early, mid, late. But I was thinking he was out at least 4 games, maybe even the first half of the season before he ramped up. And I think on Twitter, like 10 days ago, I took him in a prime time at 3.5. I took him in an OC at 3.1. I took him again the other day at 2.12. So for me, he should go anywhere in the 2nd round, and possibly soon he'll be in the 1st round when we get to September.
Do you really believe that?
Unless there is a setback. 90% of Malik Neighbors is better than most of the wide receivers.
How about him versus Justin Jefferson? So healthy Malik Neighbors, as healthy as we can imagine he'll be.
If they were both 100%, look, I love Justin Jefferson.
Oh, Malik Neighbors is up there with Jamar Chase if he's healthy 100%.
But I still have my qualms about Kyler, if it's Kyler. I'm seeing blurbs that the other guy's making it interesting.
Oh, you have your doubts.
I have my doubts.
I'm not buying it.
I have my doubts about Kyler. I know every industry analyst that I hear is Kyler Murray's a great pick. Right, he's never been worse than quarterback 12. I haven't drafted Kyler Murray in years. Now,
Kyler Murray got replaced by Brissett. Brissett elevated a whole offense without him. The same exact offense Kyler couldn't do anything with. Brissett turned into fantasy world beaters.
I mean, I'm going to have some Justin Jefferson. I am not fading Justin
He's
Jefferson.
A star.
But I'm worried about it. I mean, look what happened last year. We can just look back to last year. that offense just shit the bed. So to me, if Malik Neighbors is up there, look, Justin Jefferson has the quarterback issue. It's not a Justin Jefferson thing. CeeDee Lamb goes anywhere from mid to late first, sometimes early second. CeeDee Lamb's got George Pickens there, and Pickens was pretty much dynamite last year.
Yep.
So
hell yeah.
I look at Neighbors, who I have probably, is right up there with them when everybody's 100%. And who does Neighbors have? Isaiah Likely's probably his biggest target concern. So,
and they don't overlap. I think they could both succeed. In fact, I think the existence of Neighbors may actually help Isaiah Likely a lot. Likely's never been like an A1 receiving dominant.
He really hasn't been a big target on it, even when he had the opportunities.
I think
when Andrews has been
if Neighbors is getting all the attention.
No, I mean, everything's trending up for Likely.
Yeah, I agree.
But my point is, if all three were 100%, I'm taking Neighbors over CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson. Obviously, Neighbors is not 100%. He will not be 100%. Even if he starts week one, you got to be, I don't know if he's going to, it might be a little bit of a slow, but I'm going to draft, again, I'm probably banging out, I'm going to have enough wide receivers. I'm going to hit yellow, whatever, follow the yellow
when it matters,
road.
he could be the piece you need, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
So, again, I think right now, last night he went middle of the second. I seen he's pretty much living middle to late second. Maybe he gets to early third. But I think you're going to see now, I think starting tonight, or this week it's starting, the live prime times, like the fast drafts. Like I've done 3 slow primes. They're going to start going off. Right. And that's where the big money is. Now you're paying like $1,800 for a draft. So those guys, and as you get closer to September, where the supers, which are $2,500, and the diamonds and the platinums.
Yeah.
People are going to be putting down
those 5 and 10K like baseball.
Yeah, there's 5. The platinums, 15 or 20.
That's fucking crazy.
So those guys are going to be they're going to,
They got to get it. You're getting your guys. Yeah, for 10K, you better get your guys. I don't fight Maddie. I love you, but I don't want your guys for 10K. I want my guys.
and that's what those guys are going to do. And
holy shit.
So that's my point. If I am taking Neighbors in the second round, I'm pounding wide receivers too. Because, maybe early on it's a slow start for him. But if I have, 4 really good or 5 good wide receivers, I feel a hell of a lot better. Like I'm not counting on him week 1 or week 2. Again, NFFC is more of a points league too. People gotta say you do get second place for the best record, but it's really a points league.
Now, I wish I had maybe spoken to you a little bit earlier. So I did another article, and it was about how the market was pricing the different positions, and how they all seem to fit together so perfectly. And how, that almost worries me. You shouldn't be looking at a fantasy football season like, oh, this is easy. Like, look how easy this is. Meaning, everyone is pushing running backs forward. So I go running back. Then everyone is in love with the clump of wide receivers after that. I go wide receiver. Everyone is in agreement that quarterbacks are going too late. And then I get my quarterback. I'm like, look, my entire starting lineup is filled out with guys right at ADP that I will like. It just doesn't seem that easy. One of the places I've gotten stuck is that you would call it running yellow. For people that don't know, NFC yellow is wide receiver. Man, you could do 50 drafts, Matt, and there'll be 60 different orders, right? Mm-hmm. Zay Flowers, Tetaroa, Devonta Smith, just keep going. Lad McConkey is in there, right? All of these guys. Could you try and make some sense of it? I don't want to. I want to put it out there before you don't. I don't think you're going to do it. But I hate when people are like, "Oh, it doesn't matter." Yeah, for $1,000, it matters who we're taking. I like Zay Flowers a lot. He's been my favorite. I like Devonta Smith. I'm not really worried about the leg injuries right now. I've gotten burned in the past overreacting to these stupid.
At this point, like Josh Downs has
I'm not worried. I like Downs.
The GM came out and was
Does anyone stick out for you in that row? Rashi Rice? I'm not into Rice. That's a guy I'm out.
I've always been a Rice guy except for this year.
Okay.
I mean, for me right now, I think not that anybody's going to be JSN. Like, who's this year's JSN?
Right.
The guy who has the most similarities to me is Zay Jones.
Zay Flowers.
I always do this because I'm Bill.
Well, listen, Zay Jones actually won me quite a bit of money in the past. So you can drop his name anytime you like.
I do that all the time. But Zay Flowers, Okay. He's got a new OC. Same thing that happened to JSN last year. The target competition around him is extremely weak.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he's a guy that I think every year has gotten better and better. Last year, he still put up like 1,200 yards. Got derailed because Lamar got injured. Lamar started the year, or people forget, a house of fire. He was getting over 30 points a game that first month. Then he got hurt, was never the same, and it just kind of derailed the whole Ravens season. So I would say Flowers, I mean,
Waddle is in there. Do you like Waddle? I really like Waddle. I have a hard time choosing, to be honest.
Are we talking about the end of the second or the early? Well, this is like
this is more like end third into the fourth, right? It's like it depends on the draft. It's like mid third to fourth.
Zay Flowers in the NFFC is going end of the second. He's gone as high as mid second to early.
Well, end of the second. I'll take him top 3. I normally, I can't put Flowers above. You put him above. I can't put him above Nico or AJ Brown. I can't go there.
Well, Nico, AJ Brown's going to be gone. He'll probably go
right
at the turn or right after the turn.
Nico, London Pickens is there also.
Nico, I love.
Yep.
I just hate the quarterback, and if I got to make the bet, I'd rather make the bet on Higgins taking that big step. And it's not a Nico thing. It's kind of like with Tet. I'm really not drafting Tet. I think Tet's an uber talent. I don't like the quarterback. I'd rather play it through Jalen Coker, who came on last year again when he finally got healthy. And again, I think Ted is an uber talent. The quarterback threw for over like 200 yards like 3 times. Or, 200 and something, like 205 or 7 yards 3 times the whole season. And I really don't like Bryce Young. And so it's not the receiver, it's the quarterback. That's giving me the hesitation there. I mean, Ibuka seems to be everybody's darling, and I get it.
What, you like Baker, right? You like Baker for a bounce back? I do.
I think Baker's primed for a bounce back. I mean, he had every injury under the sun. Chris Godwin was coming off an injury. He wasn't the same last year. Evans was in and out of the lineup with injuries. Ibuka was playing through injuries late. Jalen McMillan, finally came back from a serious neck injury. So, I think Baker is a great QB2. You get him so late, and the upside is, the upside's there. He's finished as a high quarterback in the past. I think you got to like all these wide receivers on the team.
You didn't mention my guy Ladd McConkey, who's part of that.
I'm a big Ladd guy too.
Okay,
I'm a big Ladd guy. I know QJ in the high stakes streets has a lot of love.
Yeah,
I'm really not a QJ guy. I'm a Ladd guy. Neither. Problem with Ladd last year, Keenan Allen killed him. They put Keenan Allen in the slot. It took him out of there. He was running the highest ADOT for the Chargers. And that's not the role he was born to play. You want him over the middle of the field. So I really think Ladd's going to have a really nice bounce back. QJ, I believe he finished like wide receiver 1 once or twice. He had some really big weeks. He had zeros too, but people really love QJ. I'm more colder on QJ. I draft him sometimes, just not to have nothing. But I really like Trey Harris. So
yeah, me too. No,
I'm not convinced QJ is better than Trey Harris if given the full opportunity.
Yeah.
People think I'm crazy with that, but we'll see.
Now, audio only people, check out the YouTube channel Corked Stats. I want to put some attention on. I just re-released my data for the Substack, and I put a little special focus for wide receivers, again, just to help split hairs, right? None of this is gospel, none of this is definitive, but for me, it's a good way to, like, a little bit of perspective. One of the reasons I love Zay Flowers so much, I have man and zone sections, and very few, if any, wide receivers at that price point did as well versus both zone and man. Flowers earned at least 24% target share against zone and man, had 2.5 yards per route, versus zone plus man, 12% success versus zone plus man, and an EPA per target like over a third of a point per target. Like, these are huge. Where Egbuka was very good versus zone, he struggled versus man. Higgins was very good versus man, he struggled versus zone. McConkey had his struggles versus zone last year. I think that corrects, like you mentioned. See, that's why, and this goes to the not say anti-stat argument, because I know that's not what you mean at all, but you've always been the person to say, stats starred. Plus what? has the situation changed? Mm-hmm. What is the actual nuance
what is the
of the
role?
situation?
What is the role?
Like I give you a perfect example. Again, I'm here like jerking myself off. I wrote an article about alignment, but Matt, where people are talking about multiple tight end sets, so I wanted to like run the data. Who runs the most 2 tight end sets? Who runs the most 3 wide receiver sets? Who throws out of the 3 wide receiver sets the most? You got to put layers of nuance on these things. It freaking matters. Like one of the things I took away was crazy. Would you believe? I hate putting people on the spot. It was the Houston Texans who led the league in 3 wide receiver rate. They're not really a throw-heavy team. Just because you have the alignment doesn't mean it's going to lead a certain way. So you got to be careful. Stats don't always equal a result. And without Keenan Allen, oh, dude, if Keenan Allen signs with the Chargers, my heart is going to sink. It's going to fall out of my ass.
I'm worried about him signing with the Colts. And
to be honest,
they don't need Keenan Allen. They need an X receiver.
That might kill Warren and Downs, especially. I think that kills.
They need an X receiver. The Colts with Alec Pierce banged up.
Allen was that like 10 years ago, man. You know,
who can stretch the field? Like Keenan Allen in the slot is not what they need. They got, you said, they got Warren, they got Downs, and I'm still big on Downs.
To the first down marker, you know what I'm saying?
And I'm big on Warren too this year. So that would be most unfortunate if that was.
All right. So wide receivers. Let's go back to the favorite place everyone wants to talk about. It's the Jaguars again. Man, I've fallen into the Parker Washington hive mind. He was my guy coming into the draft year. Now, he was never really going too late, but I swear I was getting him in like the 7th and the 8th, and now he's up in like the 5th. As you understand, that is a major move to go from 8 to 5.
I'll tell you where I've taken him recently. You'll be surprised.
Well, you like him too? Okay, what about?
I think I'm at 19 shares now of Parker Washington.
All right, so
but I do have about 9 or 10 shares of BTJ. You know,
all right. Talk about the Jaguars. Talk about the Jaguars.
I just look at it like this. To me, it wasn't a 4-week run. After the Week 8 bye last year, Parker Washington became a main ingredient of this offense. And it's not even just the stats, it's how the trust that Trevor Lawrence had in him. That was his guy. And I know BTJ was hurt. And I look at it this year, and like I said, I got a lot of shares of Parker Washington, but I have a lot of... Basically, 90+% of those shares, Parker Washington is my wide receiver 4 or my wide receiver 3. The same goes for Brian Thomas Jr. When I take him, he's my wide receiver 4, or maybe sometimes he's my wide receiver 3. I've already gotten myself. Now, the slow prime that I did that started maybe like a week and a half ago, I was picking 9. I went, running back. I forget who I got. Oh, I started running back run. I started Genty, Walker, Malik Neighbors, and at 4-9, the highest guy on my board was Parker Washington. I wasn't waiting for ADP. I took Parker Washington at 4-9. Last night in the OC with Paul Spateri on the live stream, we had the 1 pick at the 3-4 turn. We took Jalen Waddle. And we took Parker Washington. I would have probably taken Garrett Wilson. I had Wilson as the second guy in the queue, but my partner is leery on the Jets. I think Gino is a godsend for the Jets, actually. I know he was awful last year, but I think,
Dude, he's just got to be average, and they're going to take 3 steps forward.
Look at every quarterback that Garrett Wilson's had. This is like him getting an all-pro quarterback compared to every quarterback he's had. And
do you think Gino bounces back? Just again, not all the way, but
he's just got to be good. He's not going to be as bad as last year. That whole thing blew up. People forget week 1 last year. Bowers got hurt that game, but in that game, Gino threw for like 362 yards. I think multiple touchdowns, and they smoked the Patriots at Foxborough. So people forget that, or whatever it is now, Gillette Stadium. I don't,
Yeah, who cares? Yeah.
So people forget that, and then everything just went. Bowers got hurt, and everything went, god awful for them. I mean, the head coach should have never been hired. The OC should have never been hired, and that was just a total train wreck of a season. Again,
hold on. I got something on Parker Washington I wanted to highlight for people because. My boy is erroneously, he's erroneously getting like labeled as this kind of slot merchant. You know what I'm saying? And that's just not. It's just not the case. You can see on the board, Washington ran more than half of his routes out wide. Yes, he was effective from the slot, 13 routes a game, 3 targets, 2 catches, 26 yards, scored 7 times. We love that when he's in there. Now I'm backing it up to the explosive play stuff. It's just weird, man. I feel like people take these narratives and just like say shit. And now this is where there is a point for the stats. Where the stats matter is when these Twitter touts, shits are screaming about stuff. You may just want to go check and see if they even know what they're talking about. Because this whole like slot merchant and low A dot thing, not the case at all. Nearly 1/4 of Parker Washington's plays went for 20 yards. Nearly a quarter were 20 air yards. So like he got deep targets. He wins intermediate as well, which is where you want to be. And again, we mentioned something I love. I love your style, man. Everybody
more
thinks
important.
Like, go.
More important to me, it's not just like the people love the beat writers, and I think the beat writers can get you in trouble. I want to hear what the quarterback has to say, the head coach has to say, and the GM. All I've heard, all OTAs, and since camp is opened, and you pretty much see it in the highlights every day. It's an everyday occurrence. Is the quarterback, head coach, and GM have said Parker wins in the short, the intermediate, and the deep. And, you know, like I said, the guy who's trusted most. Now, the most talented guy is probably Brian Thomas Jr., you know, at least as that deep threat. I mean, Travis Hunter is a phenomenal athlete. I just think they need him more on the defensive side if they're going to really have serious aspirations of, you know, making a Super Bowl run.
Matt, speaking of camp stuff, from what I understand, and this is another one too, people just putting these labels on guys. What the writers are saying is, or the people watching the practices, that when Hunter's been playing, it's not been in the slot. It's been out wide.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's a huge boom for
huge boost for P-Wash.
He's not coming off the field.
I mean, Jacoby Myers has been a target earner historically. I still think, like you mentioned, he's probably the least talented. And maybe he spells Hunter on the outside with Wash on the outside and as the third wideout in the slot, which is like wheels up for both of these guys. You could definitely draft both of these guys.
You just have to be careful because John Shipley, he basically does everything the fantasy people want. He gives you all that kind of stuff.
His name's getting dropped a lot right now.
But he's like the greatest PR guy going. You know, everybody's great. There isn't like, you know, the Jacksonville Jaguars are like the 86 Bears, but offensively instead of defensively.
How about the teams where we get boxed out? Now, you've done a very good job of kind of hammering the point of making sure that you're loading up on wideouts because they're variant and you want the best players. What about guys where, let's say, either you're looking for backups or you're looking for like a last flex or something, or maybe I don't want to say third wideout. Let's say a wide receiver flex after Higgins, right? So we had our eyeball on Higgins. I mentioned you off air. I loved him as a 10th. You told me to shrink in my ADP view. Well, guess what, Johnny? Yeah, he's no longer in the 10th. He's going in the 8th. So what about guys that are going in the double-digit rounds? Even if it's just names like I had Casey Concepcion.
Oh, double-digit rounds? We're talking
Matthew Golden, Romeo Doubs.
I mean, Golden, you're probably going to have to take in the 8th round. You're not going to get him in the 10th round right now. How about this? I'll tell you the wide receivers available. At the 9-10 turn, it's Casey Concepcion, Romeo Doubs.
Yep.
Then at 10-5, it's Jalen Coker. And at 10-11, it's Shakir.
Who do you like?
And at 11-1 is Rashid Shaheed, who I really like a lot.
Yeah, he's a good player. Dude, people not giving him enough credit. Did you really expect for a player to jump on the moving train and just like hit the ground running? Meanwhile, they carved him out a definitive role in the special teams, and they won the damn Super Bowl. I don't know what
people
else.
Forget
now, I think when you
a couple of years ago, Rashid Shaheed, a couple of years ago when he was in New Orleans, before he got injured, was out playing Chris Olave that year.
He's great.
Route runs, yards per route runs, targets, all that. He was balling. And then, you know, he got hurt. So, but just this is what you're looking at. What I'm telling you in that 10th round. Like Jordan Addison and Worthy go late 9. But, you know, if you don't have wide receivers, look, I want Addison to be my wide receiver 5. Worthy, my wide receiver 5. If they got to be my 4, I better have 2 stud running backs on this team.
Yeah, for real.
And the board might dictate like what you're going to do. If you're picking towards the back end, I mean, in an ideal way, I'd like to split it up, running back, wide receiver, but it's tough to pass on if you're picking towards the back, like pick 10 or 9. It's hard not to take 2 running backs like James Cook and Kenneth Walker. I have a hard time passing that up. But then you better be like, I don't care if a quarterback falls or a tight end falls. You got to just keep pounding yellow. You got to have that mindset.
Yep.
Look, I can't take the tight end that fell. I need wide receivers. I got to start 3. I got to at least start 3 every week. So you want to have like 5 good receivers.
All right, I love that. Do you have a 5 more minutes to do the onesie position?
Yeah.
I know around. Okay, I don't want to eat up all your day, man. This has been flowing pretty good.
For you, I have all day for you.
So you're the man. So yeah, what I'm taking from wide receivers is what I've been noticing myself. Get them early because the guys that are left are probably left for a reason. All right, quarterback. I think the question is to Josh Allen or not to Josh Allen, because if not, there almost is no, I don't want to say there's no ADP. There's no definitive order. I've been finding that. I wonder if you have the same experience. Quarterbacks are going in the order that their corresponding wide receivers went. So, like, if the guy in front of you has Burden or Loveland, he's going to take Williams first. If he has, Chase or Higgins, he's going to take Joe Burrow first. You mentioned Drake May. Maybe that goes to the A.J. Brown owner, wherever he is. So, like, I've just been waiting for the right quarterback to come to me. Talk to us about, like, it's very weird for me to be so agnostic on quarterbacks, but I am this year. I like Herbert, I like Lawrence, I like May, I like Hurts. I almost take them wherever I can get them. Talk to us.
The only stack I'm going to force is Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. I pretty much want that every time. I'm sorry. I that's the one I want. Right. But the thing is, look, I love Josh Allen. I'm a Bills fan. What is it? 6 straight years of 39 touchdowns or more. No other quarterback's done it more than 2 years in a row. But
he's the best fantasy player in the game. And meanwhile, we're like, I don't want him. And I'm like, wait, why would I want him?
Am I taking Josh Allen in the 4th round when I can get probably Drake May, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson in the 7th round? Unless I'm doing a Bill stack, which I did do, like a Cook.
You like Moore there in that offense?
I really haven't been a DJ Moore guy. I'm starting to think maybe I got to add some shares in there because, they did pay a hefty price for this guy.
And the buzz is up.
The money,
Dude, Josh Allen almost made Brandon Cook a thing last year. And after I thought about that, I was like, shit. Maybe I do want more DJ Moore than I have, which is very little.
I tell you, the pass catcher. I do think James Cook is going to catch more passes this year. It'll be more back to a couple of years ago when he got like 54 targets, possibly 60. But I think the pass catcher I really want on the Bills, if he can stay healthy and run close to 65, 70 routes, Dalton Kincaid. From the GM down, everybody says we're a better team when he's there. It's on the field. You see it. You see their record. You see their EPA. And if you look at when he's on the field. Like 9-10. When he's on the field, he's like, again, it's limited. He's not running as many routes as the other tight ends, so you got to take that with a grain of salt. But he's like number 1 in yards per route run, all these like stats that we freak out on. He's up there in like top 3 in like almost all of them. So he's not a sure thing. But if I had to make like a bold prediction, I could easily see him getting 1,000 yards, maybe even leading this team in receiving if he stays healthy.
We just need help. He's not a part-time player. They were nursing the injuries, and now they're saying
he looks. You look at his legs; they look bigger and
hitting the nuts.
So
we were like, when Cake went down, I was like, oh
yeah, no, everybody. Like, see, that's the thing on Twitter. Everybody. Yeah. Then the guy got hit. He got hit in the package.
You're hitting the balls, right?
Everybody's going down.
So I actually love that. Also, what I love about that pick, Matt, and again, what you're always so good at is you've always told me that too. This may have been an offer thing. Don't give advice that like doesn't jive, right? You can't say take this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy and they don't fit together. You're doing things that actually work where by your logic right here, we could have 3 running backs, we could have 4 wide receivers and a quarterback and then get Dalton Kincaid. And if Dalton Kincaid is the prize waiting for us at the end of being responsible, dude, to me that's a smash. He's one of my most roster players by a mile. I want to bring in one tight end before we get out of here because the guy that I had above him that now I'm getting iffy on was Harold Fannin. We saw fellow duck footer. He's the man. But you also mentioned Casey Concepcion. They boosted the pass catcher room. Denzel Boston, you mentioned camp buzz. He's getting all the buzz. I've now put Kincaid in front of Fannin because I'm worried about like the quarterback.
I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that.
What, you have that Fannin first?
I'll give you that for instance. I was building a build stack. Remember I was telling you? I had Cook, Josh Allen, and I had Moore. In the 9th round, Fanning was there. Kincaid was there. I took Fanning because to me he's
just too good of a player.
Look what he's done in college.
About the quarterback situation and how many people they can support.
I think Fanning's the guy. That's the guy that this offense is going through. I really like Casey Concepcion. I think he could be a guy that come second half of the season can really blow up. I like Boston, he's the end zone type of guy, contested catch. So, I mean, these two kids are going to be good. I mean, the quarterback situation is a major thing. Look at the quarterback situation last year, and look what Harold Fanning did. Yeah, now you take away David Njoku. There's no Njoku. There's no other tight end. Harold Fanning, to me, going in the 9th round is criminal.
Yeah, I have to bring this up because it's funny. Again, I just dropped all my stats, so I've been having fun with some of these sheets and stuff. The pass catching, so the overall quarterbacking passing situation for the Browns was, so this is like all encompassing everybody. Dude, a 58% completion rate, negative 0.25 EPA per dropback, negative 0.12 per attempt, 185 yards a game. These are all dead last by a fucking country mile. Bro, 5.6 yards per attempt. And Fannin was an absolute smash-a-rooney. I just was worried maybe with a few more mouths. You're making me feel a little bit better than at that.
But how about this? The defense, they just lost Myles Garrett. All-world player.
That's a good point. The back end of that. Yeah.
Really bad. They got to face the Ravens. They got to face the Bengals. Those are two good teams right there.
Who do you think wins the quarterback? I need a 20-round best ball quarterback. Do you have any favorites?
The only reason I think they go with Watson is because they should have cut this guy. Yeah. It's dead money. Sometimes you just got to say it's dead money, and you got to move on. I mean, look, do I think Shador's really good? No. But why not just go with these kids? Get this guy off your team. You blew that. You blew that money. It's dead. You're never getting anything on that return. Get him out of the building.
He's going to have two lower body injuries, also 2 serious ones for Watson.
Yeah, before everything in his prime, before everything happened, he was a hell of a quarterback.
He's a baller.
He won me some really nice money. But
so do you think? So you think Watson gets a first look and it's for like a month in or something?
I mean, I really don't know what the hell they're going to do, but if I had to put money on it, I think just because he's still on the team, and he looks awful even in camp.
And they still say he's in the lead, and you're like, what's going on here?
I mean, the guy. I mean, I just watched some of these highlights and stuff.
These are back-to-back sentences. Watson looked terrible in camp. Watson is the clear leader.
Even if he's the starter, I don't think it can last more than a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I think what happens is they give him the shot, they get frustrated, it's just really bad, and he's cut. They just get off the friggin' team.
All right, now I'm going to reconsider that Fannin position because I think you might be right. He succeeded in such a bad situation that it doesn't even have to improve. And then you have rookies needing to come along. Yeah, maybe I got a little too high on Kincaid for Fannin. All right, Matt, that'll do us for today. I'd love to have you back before we kick off again. Maybe I'll bug you in a couple weeks and we'll see. That was really great.
Sounds good.
Do you want to just plug anything you're doing? I know you've been hooking up with Vaccaro. I gotta hit up Vaccaro, man. He's so fucking
you should
cool.
definitely have.
I wanna promote his play. Yo, that spot is.
Oh, it's awesome. When I lived in Manhattan, I was there all the time.
It's dope.
Food is really good.
Dope.
Food is really
Chris
good.
Vaccaro is in with Gramercy Street Tavern. If anybody is in New York,
Greenwich Street Tavern. Greenwich Street Tavern.
It is dope. It is like
yes.
high end. You are chilling like a villain. He's out there rubbing elbows and
he had Messier there.
He is just absolutely man.
Celebrities have been there, especially with the World Cup.
It's a great place. He's a great guy, and he treats you like royalty.
I definitely recommend
stuff,
you have Chris on. You reach out to Nelson Sousa, the Mike Edelmans of the world.
Nelson's the man.
Fantasy Empire. We started last week. We record every Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern on YouTube.
It's really actionable.
It's myself, Chris Vaccaro, Nelson Susan, and Darren Williams.
Hold on. At any given moment, Maddie, there's like fucking 6 figures worth of go on your opinions. I'm dead serious, and that's the difference. Now, I'm a volume player. Depends on who you ask. But we all both know I'm not going to call any names. There's plenty of people giving advice with no money on the line. So they don't really give a shit if they're right or wrong. When you listen to your program, when you guys are saying, I'm struggling with this rank or I have to make this tough decision, it needs to stick with people. It sticks with me that I'm like, okay, this is where the money is focused right now. Mm-hmm. And it's funny. I get caught up on some things that you're like, no. That's not that important. And I rethink it. When you guys talk, I listen because not only are you super sharp, but again, you guys are vested in this. It means something to you. So, yeah, anything? Are you doing any other stuff?
I am doing a couple other things. Tonight we have a live stream. Me and Paul Spiteri. We've been doing the Sunday night live streams every Sunday. Like I said, during the week we do 1 or 2. We got one tonight.
Where do I catch that?
Paul's going to tweet it out later. He has it on his link or his YouTube page. I don't even know what his YouTube page is, so I can't tell you.
Don't
tweet
it. It'll
be on Twitter. It'll be on X. I'll retweet it. Paul's going to retweet it.
What's your Twitter handle now again? I forget it changed.
At the Slow Gorilla. I love doing slow drafts. That's how it all came about. But so we got a live stream tonight, 10 o'clock Eastern. We're picking from the 6. Wednesday night, we're doing another live stream. It's a unique online championship. It's a tag team version. It's me and Paul. There's like Chris Vaccaro, Lou Weber, Nelson Sousa, Joey Brown. So everybody's got a teammate. So that'll be Wednesday night. And sometimes you catch me on like Friday nights. Nelson, I promoted as the Friday Night Lights. He does his drafts, and I do the commentary, basically on the board while he's drafting. So I've been staying busy, been loving it, having a lot of fun with the live streams, and also starting in season. Paul Spiteri. I don't know if you know Fantasy Sopranos. You got to get to know him at Fantasy Sopranos. Steve, we call him the Greek. I'm not going to butcher his last name, but he's a must follow. Excellent high stakes player. He did some really big damage last year in the NFFC. So
I'm gonna hit him up. Maybe I can get him on. I've been looking for.
Oh, he's a personality. You want somebody? He's awesome.
I love that, man. I love our characters, man.
He's like the mayor. He's great.
I love the characters.
I know him for like a year. I feel like I know him for 10 years.
So that was so awesome, Matt. Thank you so much for your time. Of course, you're just the most open book. Like, you're so transparent with everybody that we really do appreciate it. I know I learned some shit. Hopefully everyone else did too. So from Big Johnny Stud and Mr. Matt Modica at Slow Gorilla, he's the fucking, is Matt the man? I told you on the baseball stream, Matt is the effing man. Make sure you're following him and all his work. And Vaccaro and Sousa, those guys are killing it. Enjoy the games, enjoy the day. When we're done with the book, enjoy the pay. And remember,